Guru Sakshat Param Brahm. Oh, sorry, I have not put the mic. Just a minute. When I put the mic, you can see, you can hear. Okay, I think you can hear now. Yeah, I put the mic. Okay, Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Om. Okay, we were discussing, today is Monday, we have shifted, just to remind you, we have shifted Sunday classes to Monday, because the Sunday we have Prakriya Pratyabhigna is another class for our Brahmacharis here, that we are not recording. It's highly technical, so we are not recording it. So we have Gita hereafter on Mondays. Okay, I hope it suits everybody. Fourth chapter, 41st shloka. Yogasanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. So jnana sanchinna samshayam, a person whose all his doubts are broken asunder, are cut asunder, all his doubts are completely cut off, such a person, the idea is he is free from all doubts. So doubt itself means ignorance. Okay, doubt is another form of ignorance. When you don't know something, you are ignorant. Okay, this is one way. Ignorance consists in three forms. Ignorant consists of in three ways. One is totally not knowing anything, just not knowing. There is no such thing called total ignorance anyway. Means not knowing about it. Second is having doubts about it. Third is misunderstanding. So ajnanam, samshayajnanam, viparita jnanam. These are the three forms of ignorance. So a person, so here jnana, what is that? Jnana sanchinna samshayam. With jnana alone, all the doubts about Atma will go away. So here Bhashyakara says, Jnanena. Jnana means Atmeshwara Ekatva Darshana Lakshananena. Jnana is what type of jnana do we mean here? Understanding oneself as one with Brahman. Atma is one with Ishvara. Ishvara is Brahman. Understanding Atma not as identified with the body, mind and sense organs. That is individual. Not seeing oneself as an individual, but being free from individuality, but one with the whole universe. That is one with the total consciousness. You don't see your consciousness as identify with your body, mind and sense organs, but free from body, mind and sense organs, therefore free from individuality. That means the consciousness is not a knowing knower, a gnatru, an individual consciousness, a knowership. It is not just a knower, it is the very knowledge principle of knowing. So two ways we can say. A knowledge, when it is related with other, it becomes a pramatru, the knower. But here he is talking, he frees himself from the knowerhood. In your waking state, you are an individual knower of the worldly waking objects. In dream also, you are an individual knower of the dream objects. So, in waking and dream, you stand as an individual, using your body, mind, and sense organs and knowing the external objects. So, this knower is only a subject related to object and also connected with body, mind, and sense organs. So, this is Jiva. He says that Jiva, that Atma, is understood as independent of the body, independent of sense organs, independent of mind. Therefore, his consciousness is not related to external object. It is consciousness by itself, unrelated to anything else, because anything else doesn't exist apart from his consciousness, like in deep sleep. So a person sees himself, first he separates him from the body, mind and sense organs. Then he understands that consciousness which is discriminated from the body, mind and sense organs, which is not associated, bound to the body. Bounding means what? Consciousness is identified with the body. You see the bodily qualities as yourself, bodily shape, the boundary of the body, the location of the body. Body is located in space and time. So through the body, my consciousness has a location that I am here now. The idea of time, the idea of place, that is a location in time, location in space. Then through body you have a self-image. You have a consciousness of your age, consciousness of your gender, male or female, consciousness of all your role in the society, your relationship with your relatives, and your achievements, your activity. You have a self-image. You have a sense of individuality. So this self-image or sense of individuality I am aware of. So I am consciousness, no doubt, but consciousness as an individual. Consciousness as located in one place. So this location is due to the body. Image of myself is due to the body. You remove the body, you have no bodily image. But you may have image of yourself through your mind, capacity of the mind, capacity of the intellect. Mind is emotional nature. Intellect is thinking. So, based upon your capacity to think, your intelligence, your memory power and all that. So, you have an image. I have a good memory. I know so and so. I cannot know, whatever. So, you have your own emotional state. So, he becomes free even from the mind. He discriminates himself free from the mind. He discriminates himself. Himself means the consciousness, not dependent upon the mind, but independent of the mind. Because mind is also known within the consciousness. Consciousness remains stable, unaffected, unconnected with the mind. Therefore, the entire waking state, entire dream state, or do fall within consciousness, or even if they go away, consciousness remains. So thus he extricates the consciousness from being associated with the body. He removes the association with the body, identification with the body by awareness, by self-observation with the help of Vedanta. Then the separation from the sense organs. Otherwise, we think consciousness only when I am functioning through my sense organs. When I see through my eyes, or listen, or touch, or feel in some sense organ, when I am using some or other sense organ, I feel I am conscious. But here, you are consciousness without the need of a sense organ, then without the need of mind. Okay, mind also restricts the consciousness, and mind is not part of essential part of consciousness. Consciousness can exist independent of mind, like in deep sleep. So the entire consciousness of the state, the whole state, even if the entire state is wiped out, consciousness remains naturally, spontaneously, independently, unaffected by the external world. Okay, so this separating the consciousness from the body, mind, and uh, sense organs, and also understanding that consciousness is free from all kinds of limitation, it is at once infinite. Okay, so it includes the entire universe. Therefore, consciousness is free from individual and also infinity. This is called uh, Atma Ishvara Ekatva Darshanam, intuiting the oneness of myself, oneness of Atma with Ishvara. Ishvara is the cause of the universe, the truth of the universe. So the truth of the universe is inseparable from the consciousness me. Me, the consciousness, is not individual consciousness, but the very truth of the entire universe. Me, the consciousness, me not as a body, me not as sense organs, me not as mind, me not as intellect, me as consciousness. See, we are talking this way. Me as consciousness is the truth of the essential truth of the entire universe, including space and time and all. So therefore, me, the consciousness, when I extricate from the body, mind, and sense organs, and also understand it as one with the underlying truth of the entire universe. So, underlying truth of the universe, because the whole universe is only a kalpita, it is a false appearance of that pure consciousness. So, that which is the truth of the entire universe is the truth of me also. What is truth of me is instantly at the same time the truth of the entire universe. So, you can't see the Atma. You can't see the Atma and say that I am not the truth of the universe. Atma, by its very nature, is the truth of the entire universe. Therefore, Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam. He understands with the help of Jnana. Jnana means Vichara. With the help of the Vichara, he comes to understand that myself is not an individual, but in my real nature, in my essential nature, as my essential nature, I am not only free from individuality, I become one with the entire universe, one with all the people. I am the soul, I am the Atma of all the living beings, not only humans, gods, rishis, pitrus, and the animals, plants, everybody. When I separate myself from the individual body, I discover that I am consciousness. As consciousness, I am everybody. I am the Sakshi of everybody. I am the Atma of everybody. I am the Atma of every person and every object. Okay, this is called Atma Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam. So this Jnanam removes all doubts. So doubt, as I told you, is a doubt about not know. Ajnana, ignorance, is in three forms. One is not knowing, another is being doubtful about it, third is totally misunderstanding. When he says, Bhagavan Krishna says, Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam, you become free from all the doubts with the help of this Atma Jnanam. All doubts means here, doubt means complete ignorance. We have told doubt is one of the three forms of ignorance. But here we have to take, with the help of the Jnanam, you become free from all kinds of ignorance, misunderstanding, doubts, not knowing, and everything goes away. So I don't know, the thought doesn't arise because I am myself. Then you have no doubts about yourself. You have no misunderstanding about yourself. So what is the misunderstanding? Taking myself to be body, taking myself to be sense organs, myself to be an individual, having a self-image. Now this is a misunderstanding about oneself. So a person becomes free from misunderstanding, free from ignorance, free from doubts. Particularly since he is using the word samshaya. Let us see what are all the samsayas. Vishaya paravashasya pumsho yoga yogat. संशयोच्चित्तौ तदुच्छेदक ज्ञानमाहात्म्यादेव कर्मणांच निवृत्तौ. So he is not telling. This another commentator says, Chinnaha samshaya. I think I should have brought another commentary. Anyway, so Chinnaha chinna samshayaha. A person who becomes free from doubts, because Atma dehadya bhinnova. Now who is the Atma? That is, who is myself? Who am I? Who am I in short, as Ramana Maharshi puts the question? Who am I? Am I an individual? By nature. Who am I by real nature? If I am an individual, I can't get rid of my individuality, because what is nature cannot change. And if I am an individual, then I am subject to birth and death and relationship and everything come into picture. Then who am I? Then am I the body? Or am I the mind? Or am I an individual? What? Now he says, Chinna samshaya. Atma dehadi abhinno nava. Is Atma body, mind and sense organs alone? Or is it different from it? This doubt will go away. Because we have at the moment, generally people take that I am the body, but at the same time feel that I am not different. I am different from the body. Though you say different from the body, but the identification with the body doesn't go away. It still continues. Therefore, dehadi bhinno abhinnova. Is it different from the body or still body only? This doubt will go away with the help of jnana. Next, bhinnopi bhinnopi avibhur vibhurva. Okay. If Atma is different from the body, is it an individual or is it the infinite? First, is Atma different from the body or not? Second, is it infinite or only a finite individual? Okay. Sopi karta akarta. Then, is he a doer? Means, is he subject to change? Is that Atma subject to change or totally changeless? Karta means a doer. Doer means one who undergoes modification is called a doer. Because doing something means undergoing a change. Without undergoing a change, you can't be a doer. Okay. Or is it akarta? Is my Atma, is my consciousness a doer or non-doer? If he is a doer, agent of action, he is subject to change. If he is a non-doer, then no change at all. He will be changeless, self-existent Atma Swarupa. Therefore, he is asking, is Atma different from the body or not? Second, if it is different, is it individual or total, or the universe, entire universe? Infinite. In other words, is it individual or infinite? Second, is the Atma a karta doer, or he is free from doership, free from any modification, any change? Karta pi bhokta abhoktava. Then am I bhokta or abhokta? Then abhokta pi aneko ekova. Then am I the one am I the total truth, or am I only one truth and others are also truth? I am the one Atma, others are more, others are also Atma. Like this, Atmas are many. Some people take like that. So, is Atma one or many? One means the whole infinity. Many means again each one is identified with one particular thing. सोपि सविशेषो निर्विशेषो वा निर्विशेष ज्ञानात् केनचित् समुचितात् मोक्षः केवलाद् वा. Then regarding the all these doubts get cleared. Okay, all these doubts get cleared by knowledge alone, that I am Brahman, I am not an individual. Once the individuality is removed, Brahmatvam naturally remains. So that Brahmatvam, regarding that Brahmatvam, he had doubts. Now all these doubts are cleared. Satyah mithya bhutova ityeva madi rupo yasya samshayaha. Abba. He is giving a big list of samshayas. What are all the doubts he is making? All these doubts go away. People always ask question, have I gained jnanam? Is my jnanam Brahma jnanam? If you have enlightenment, understanding of Atma, you would not ask question because it becomes very clear. If you have a doubt, means you have some deficiency. Your mind is looking for something, waiting for something more. The present state seems to be a limited one. Therefore, the samshaya means ignorance. So one who is free from samshaya means you discover yourself to be the Atman, which is ever pure and ever clean. When you find yourself with the Atma, all doubts are cleared. You become free from all doubts. Therefore, he is asking, Jnanena sanchinna samshaya. By tattva vichara, you gain jnanam. And once you gain jnanam, what is the nature of Atma? How does it exist? Where does it exist? All these questions are external questions. People are not looking their anubhavas. Okay. If you look at your anubhava, you understand that all these doubts go away. Okay. Jnana sanchinna samshayam. Then Atmavantam. Next is also interesting point. Atmavantam, this word is a very important. Nakarmani nibadhananti dhananjaya yoga sanyasta karmanam. By his antarmukhata, he gave up all his karmas. By his karma yoga, first with his karma yoga, he purifies his mind. The desire for result of actions, the desire for pleasures, desire for money, power, status, all these things go away. Then mind becomes purified. So with this karma yoga, Shankaracharya is taking yoga means directly Brahma Jnanam alone. But here, I feel yoga can mean yoga sanyasta karmanam. With his purity of mind, when he becomes desireless, automatically the pressure of karma goes away. Karma, sanyasta karma, one who has surrendered, one who has given up all the karmas. How do you give up all the karmas? Yoga sanyasta karmanam. By the purity of the mind, detachment. By the purity, detachment of the mind, yoga sanyasta, yoga. With this yoga, he is able to give up karma. Giving up karma means not feeling the pressure of karma. Oh, I must do, otherwise, oh, I missed it. Either you feel the pressure of you must do that because you need to do. Second is, if you don't do also, you become relaxed. Even if you are working, you don't feel the tension. Even if you don't working, you don't feel that you are missing or losing something. So the karma doesn't make any importance, any effect on you. Okay. Performing one's duty or not doing the duty doesn't add or subtract anything from you. You remain the same pure selfless being, whether you do karma or drop karma. Such person is jnana sanyasta karma. Because of his purity of mind, detachment, not having any desires for the world, mind naturally feels relaxed. It doesn't feel the tension. It doesn't feel the pressure, because the pressure and the tensions are due to desires, not due to the karma. Karma itself doesn't cause a tension. The stress, it doesn't cause the stress. It is the doubtful thing, expectation of tomorrow, expectation of, tomorrow's result. What you expect more and it may not be possible, then there is a tension, there is a conflict. You want that to happen, but it looks that it may not happen. Then what happens? Your expectation belied. Expectation goes wrong. That frustrates, that angers a person, enrages a person. Therefore, he says, Jnana sanchinnakam samshayam. When all the doubts are cleared, person doesn't feel the pressure. Sorry, we are talking of karma. First word, yoga sannyasta karma. So the karma is an inner pressure you feel, either a desire or pressure that I must do something. If I don't do, I feel that I'm missing something, or I feel bored, or I feel missing. When you work hard, when you do something, you feel confident that yes, I am capable. So all these desires not only for the result, material result of action. So there are many subtle desires associated with an action, like prestige, like many things. That efficiency, your confidence, prestige, confidence, desire to possess, desire to enjoy, all these are the various desires. So yoga by karma yoga. Karma yoga is you offer, you surrender your life to Ishvara, your activities, experiences, and life as a whole. See, you have to see that at every step, my life is in the hands of Ishvara. Ishvara, who is whole cosmos. Ishvara is the whole universe. So my whole life is in his hand. My plans, my ideas, my goals, I can't do them outside Ishvara or outside Chaitanya Swarupa. They all happen within Chaitanya Paramatma only. Therefore, with this yoga means with detachment, with vairagyam, uh, he is able to give up karma. Giving up karma means giving up the pressure for karma, the desire for karma. All these kinds of desires create a pressure. They pressurize you to under that force, under the force of desire, under the pressure of desire, I am engaging myself in the action. Life, in my life, I feel a pressure to do. If I don't do, I feel that, oh, I missed something, I must have done it, I should have done it, oh, I miss it all. That means there is a need, there is a pressure that I must act. So this desire or a pressure for acting is called asakti. So sannyasa means giving up that. Don't feel the pressure. Your mind has become grown mature by understanding the life, understanding the experiences of life, how all our worldly experiences are limited. They can't give you absolute happiness. Therefore, with this yoga, karma yoga, you get a detachment. In the detachment, you don't feel the pressure of doing it. You may do it more as a leela, as sportively, as a pastime, you may enjoy doing it. But a serious person who wants the result of an action, oh, I must have it. If you have a desire, then you feel the pressure of the desire, because the desire wants you to do something. Desires pressurizes you to achieve something, gain something, possess something, enjoy something. Okay. Or at least to prove that I am capable. Otherwise, people could say, oh, a lazy fellow, what can he do? He doesn't do anything. They say, oh, these sannyasis have nothing else to do. Lazy fellows, they can't do anything. They just waste their time. Once they criticize, he feels upset. Oh my God, they are criticizing. If you are really free, you don't get upset with others' criticism. You understand what you are. You are just relaxed. So, a person who doesn't feel a desire to prove himself to others, that I have to prove something. I have to prove something to others that I am capable of doing. So you feel the desire to gain something. materially, or name and fame, or a position, or in the society you want a name, means you want to prove something to others that you are not an ordinary person, you are capable of doing many things. uh, so or such a deeper things which no other person can do, I alone can do it. So this desire pressurizes pressurizes a person to act. A person who becomes free from these desires, it doesn't feel the pressure. He may do work. It doesn't mean that he should totally avoid doing work. He may do or he may not do. In either way, he doesn't feel the pressure. Neither in doing action, neither in doing his duty, nor he is refraining from duty. Neither of them will give him any pressure. So pressure is the external life. Internal pressure is my desire. I have an expectation about myself. I should be like that. I should be like this. So your ideals, all your ideals put a pressure on you. Do you see that? The social ideals, economic ideals, political ideals, seeing the society, we say that, oh my God, society is going to dogs. I must change it. It should not happen. That's why we are suffering and all that. So a person, karma yogi, might do. He will do it in a relaxed way, an enjoyable way. He doesn't feel the pressure. So that is karta. Atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti yoga sanyasta karmanam. He is able to renounce the karma, the most necessity karma also. It doesn't, in this karma when you do, somebody gets more result, somebody gets less result, it doesn't get upset. He understands the very nature of karma. Okay. Therefore, yogena, with your karma yoga, with your maturity and understanding, sanyasta karmanam, you have given up all the karmas. Giving up the karmas, refraining from the karma means being free from the pressure of doing a karma. Okay. When you grow out of the pressure, you are relaxed. Yoga sanyasta karmanam. This is the karma yoga sadhana. Jnana sanchinna samshayam. This is a jnana yoga sadhana. Then atmavantam. Atmavantam is common to both. So atmavantam, a person who gains knowledge, is naturally atmavan. Atma is apramattaha, alert, vigilant. Okay? Alert, vigilant, confident. Therefore he says, atmavantam, a person who is on his own. Atmavantam means one good thing. Apramattaha, Shankaracharya says. Apramattam gunacheshta rupena dushtani kar. Apramattam, pramada is inadvertence. Apramatta is free from inadvertence. That means his mind is always alert. Alert to ideas, alert to what is going to happen. If somebody talks very sweetly, and then you have to read. You have to read the meaning of their superficial comment. Superficial comment has got a deeper implication. So that must be studied. Okay, so yoga sanyasta karmanam, with your yoga, a detached outlook, you don't feel the pressure of karma. Doesn't mean you avoid the doing the karma. You may do also, even if you are a grihastha or sannyasi. Yoga sanyasta karmanam, he has given up the karma with the help of the yoga, that is dhyana, that is upasana. Okay, yoga sanyasta karmanam. Next, jnana sanchinna samshayam, we have told already. So with the knowledge, all the doubts go away. You become just the pure consciousness. Then atmavantam, the last word, in this shloka, atmavantam is apramatta. If you are apramatta, three things he told. First, you follow the yoga. That purifies your mind. Jnana, that removes all doubts. Then apramatta is nididhyasa. Apramattana is nididhyasana. See, jnana sanchinna samshayam may mean shravana marana. Apramatta is nididhyasana. Because in nididhyasana, you are very alert. Unconsciously, subconsciously, mind is really alert. It's not sleepy mind. It doesn't escape the life. Therefore, atmavantam, a person who is not inadvertent, who is always alert and careful. How does it happen? If you are in nididhyasana, you are continuously watchful, you are alertly watchful, vigilantly watchful. I don't know how to say it in English, but nididhyasana means dhyatum icha nididhyasa. In that thing, one wants to do dhyana, not for any other worldly purpose. So, when you are trying to do dhyana, your mind will be continuously alert. Because it is an alert mind alone can pay attention to facts of life. Therefore, apramada. Apramada means one more thing. In mind, there are desires, impulses, instincts. So, it is the instinct or impulses or selfish desire. Instinct, impulse, or selfish desire. These three pressurize us to work. So, apramatta is a person who is a sakshi, who is awareful. A person who is completely under his control. Apramatta is, he is completely under his control. He is not carried away by things. He is not carried away by people's provocation. People take some decisions, try to do something good, and somebody criticizes, you get shaken and drop the idea. So here he is convinced of things very clearly. So Atmavantam, very alert. So in impulses and instincts, if you are little careless, the impulse will take over. The instinct will take over you, and the instinct makes you to do certain things. Impulse makes you to do certain things. Certain things which you don't like it, but you are forced to do. Okay. Therefore, a person who is free from in his nididhyasana stage is free from all pressure, either internal pressure or external pressure. Internal pressure is due to instincts and desires. External pressure is due to various things. So, a person apramattaha, continuously alert. Alert means what? Alert where? He makes sure, by being alert, you make sure that your impulse doesn't take over you. No act, no word, no thought happens without yourself being conscious. You are fully under your control. You are fully under your consciousness. Every thought, every idea, every action, every word I am conscious of. Consciously he speaks. Means he doesn't make mistakes. What he doesn't want to do in that moment, and the pressure comes, the impulse comes and makes you to say. Later you feel that, oh, I should not have told that. True, but this I should not have told like that. This idea should have come before speaking. But now after everything is over, he has realized it. Now he says, oh, I should not have done that. So anyway, even this realization is good. So a person apramatta is continuously watchful, vigilant, alert. That means watchful of what? It doesn't allow his individuality to take over. It doesn't allow the desires, frustrations, emotional problems to take over the Atma. Take over means what? Overwhelm the Atma, imposed upon the Atma. Atma remains pure ever, like before. Therefore, Atmavantam, a person doesn't act according to impulses, according to instincts, but consciously does it. Why I am doing, what I am doing, for what purpose, all these things are very clear to him. He is not carried away by wrong things. So such person is apramatta, pramado vai mrityuh. What is that? In Mahabharata, Sanat Sujatiya is a small text on Vedanta. It says that pramado vai mrityuh, the lack of, the inadvertence, the lack of alertness, lack of sakshi's alertness, what happens to the person? Pramado vai mrityuh, a person who is a pramadi. Pramadi means pramada, pramadi. Pramada is inadvertence. Pramadi is one who is inadvertent. So apramattaha, one who is not pramadi, he doesn't do pramada. Pramada happens in a slip of second. Overconfidence. Oh, will it happen like that? No, don't worry, we can do that. But suddenly things happen and you won't be able to. So where there is a necessity, there you are very alert, full conscious, both in spiritual world and the worldly life, spiritual life and worldly life. Apramadaha, person is supposed to be alert, conscious, and never allow the impulse take over you. That's a great sadhana. Generally, people get carried away by impulses. So, Atmavantam, a person who is alert and consciously alert. That means he is free from instincts and impulses. That's idea. Apramatta is a part of Nididhyasana. In fact, you need apramattata anytime. Anytime in sadhana, in Dharma Shastra level, Karma Yoga level, Sannyasa level, Tattva Vichara level, at each level you need confidence. Okay. Atmavan, you have to be apramatta. But at least in certain areas where your mind tends to be instinctive, tends to be impulses, consciously practice them. Don't allow the impulse to take over. Be conscious. Consciousness is a continuously alert one. It doesn't take for granted, it doesn't allow others to take you for granted. It is either way. It doesn't allow others to take for granted. He knows what he is doing, why he is doing it. All that has got a very clear understanding. Therefore, a person doesn't get emotionally carried away or with your prejudice or with all kind of human weaknesses. We start defending it. So that's not the way. Apramatta is always alert. He doesn't commit mistake. Even if a mistake like something happens, he is aware of it. And when he gets the chance, he will correct them. So like this, apramattaha. Apramatta is in Karma Yoga stage. Apramatta is in what you call freedom from inadvertence. That means he is very careful, watchful, vigilant. That person is apramatta. Free from pramada in dharma. He is free from committing pramada during Karma Yoga. He is not hasty. See, haste is also pramada. Emotionally working up is pramada. People take decision under the pressures, under emotional needs and pressures and prejudices and all that. He doesn't take any decision under any pressure. First thing is, it doesn't feel the pressure. It doesn't feel the pressure of external world or in internal desires and ambitions and all that. It remains relaxed. Such person is apramattaha. So in Nididhyasana stage also you have to be apramatta. Thought. Is the thought arising, or do I understand thought is also consciousness and there is nothing other than consciousness? In Nididhyasana stage also mind has to be very alert. Very, very alert. Nididhyasana has got highest alertness, highest apramada, alertness. Highest means it is a spontaneous, but at the same time highest alert. So every thought your mind is watchful. The thought is not me. Thought is only superimposed upon me. He should be aware of. Isn't it? So therefore apramattaha is particularly, apramatta is in a general sense, okay, but here I am taking apramatta during Nididhyasana stage. There your apramatta is of a high quality. You are very watchful, and never allow a negative point, negative quality, negative emotion to take over you. That is called apramatta. Okay. Therefore, atmavantam, a person who is apramatta, karmas do not bind him. Because when he is alert and careful and what is to be done, he does it. What is to be spoken, he speaks only that. Even under the provocation, it doesn't lose temper. Is always relaxed. Such person, atmavantam, na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. Therefore, karmas won't bind such a person. Who has learnt Karma Yoga? He has given up karmas through learning the Karma Yoga. Yoga means karma siddhi, karma yoga siddhi. Okay, he got the siddhi in karma yoga. Then jnana sanchinna samshayam. A later stage in jnana yoga, first in karma yoga is he learnt the alertness. Second is in jnana yoga, jnana sanchinna samshayam. With the help of the aham brahmasmi jnanam that has arisen as a result of tattva vichara, such a person apramatto bhavati. So when he is apramadi, jnana sanchinna samshayaha, from his knowledge all doubts are cleared, and also karma, he lived a life of karma yoga. Such a person, na karmani nibadhananti, no karmas bind him. Karma binds means what? If you are in a process of cause and effect, if you are sticking to a cause, naturally that will push you into the effect. Sticking to the cause means what? If you are doing a karma, if you are doing some act, then naturally you will be connected with its result. One who acts, he alone will be connected with the result, isn't it? Therefore, karma is the karana stage, karma phala is the karya stage. Karana karya. Karana is the one, a causative factor. Karya is the one, the produced product. Therefore, karma means being in this realm of cause and effect relationship. Either my past karmas pressurize me, give me certain experiences, or I have a desire so that I plan for next work. I am working hard in order to get something. In either way, past is the karana, present is the karya. Or present is the karana and tomorrow is the future is the karya. So a person who is under the pressure of all these things can't be peaceful. Okay. Therefore, yoga sanyasta karmanam, by his detachment, by giving up his desire, he remains alert. Alertness is more important than being hasty, being emotional, and also being prejudiced to take side on one side. Without prejudice, without desire, he is a relaxed person. He is watchful. What is to be done at the right time, at the right thing, he does it. Okay. Therefore, yoga sanyasta karma. Then jnana sanchinna samshayam. All doubts are cleared with this, with his jnanam. Then atmavantam. At the same time, he is very alert. Alert of what? If you are alert, you can check your desires, whether they are reasonable, whether they are good or extreme. Okay. Desires are sometimes extreme. Atmavantam, when you say, in during nididhyasana, a person is very alert. That means during nididhyasana, he is alert that the thought of individuality should not arise. Thought of individuality should be understood as a false. Once I understand that the sense of I, the I notion, the notion of ego, notion of individuality melts away into the pure consciousness. That melts away only if you are aware, fully watching, aware, fully doing nididhyasana. If the awareness slips, then the karma catches you. Therefore, the cause and effect relationship is karma. If he is karma nabadnati, karma doesn't bind him, means he is free from cause and effect relationship. He is not affected by his past karma also, nor the present karma is pressurizing him to work and get some result. Both these pressures he doesn't feel. He is totally relaxed, completely under his control. He knows what he is doing. So, atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. For such an atmavan, karmani na nibadhananti, karmas won't bind him. That means karma binds a person. Binding means what? You come under the cause and effect relationship. If you come under the cause and effect relationship, so one part of karma, if you are doing karma, you will be forced to accept the result of it, isn't it? Karma automatically brings the result. You do something. If you do something, then the result of it automatically will come to you, whether love it or not, whether you like it or not. Therefore, being free from karma means being free from the pressure of karma, being free from the cause and effect relativeness. You are free from relativeness. You are free from pressure as a karta. As a karma yogi, you become free from the pressure that I must do, because he has no desires, he has no impulses, and he has no instincts. He transcends the instincts, impulses, and the desires, calculated desires. None of them bind him, because he is not under the pressure of this thing. Being free from the pressure of instincts, desires, impulses, all these things is called apramatta. How beautiful it is. Person has to be very carefully, consciously do it. Don't do it hastily, hesitatingly, or out of desire, ambition, selfishness, and all. All these things are pramadas. So, in Nididhyasana stage, what is the important point? Person is continuously alert, never allows himself to be taken over by some impulse, some desire, some worldly thing or something. So, such a Atmavan person, karmas do not bind him. Means what? He is beyond the cause and effect relationship. He is not available for any relativeness. There, because he stands at such a stage where he is neither cause nor effect. Both the cause and effects go away. He remains a neutral sakshi, eternal neutral sakshi, eternal consciousness without any pressure. Okay. Therefore, karmani na nibadhnanti. Karmas do not bind him. Karmas do not bind him. Two ways you can explain. The karma, one karma is the desire to do karma binds you. If you have a desire for something, then that pressurizes you to do something. Being under the pressure is called bondage, because you are under pressure. Once you are under pressure, then this is called bondage, karma bandha. Another bandhana, another kind of bondage of karma is you do karma, and if you do karma with a desire, with a asakti, with an attachment, with a motive, then you will be forced to accept the result. If you have forced yourself to do the karma, then you have to force yourself to get the result of it. Karma produces result. So the karma bandha is feeling the pressure of desires, impulses, and instincts. That is one karma phala. That is one karma bondage. Another karma bondage is the result. You are forced to accept the result and forced to enjoy, whether good or bad. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So these two kinds of bondage, karma bondage, will not be there, because it transcends the relativeness of cause and effect. He stands beyond the time and space. He stands as a sakshi. No time, no place, no cause and effect relationship. Such person is free from all karmas. See, first yoga sannyasta karma. I'll just conclude now. Just within one or two sentences, I'll conclude. Yoga sannyasta karma. With karma yoga, he learnt the detachment from karma. Then with jnana, he cleared all his doubts about atma, anatma, world, why adhyasa, why world. There is no adhyasa, there is no world, there is no individuality, there is only Brahma. How? That you will be understanding by jnanam, jnana sanchinna samshayam. Atmavantam, he is always alert. Such a person, no karma can bind him, because he transcends all the limited world and stays at such a place where this limited world of cause and effect has no effect on him. He stands in such a position, he stands in such nature of Atma, where he is not affected by external worldly acts, worldly results, comments, criticism, failures, frustration. None of them can disturb. Neither good nor bad. Both good and bad do not disturb him. That means he transcends. He stays at such a level where all these things don't touch him. Like you stay in Sushupti, you stay in deep sleep, you are not bound by the impulses, desires, effects of worldly life. Okay. So, like in Sushupti, you stand as Advitiya Chaitanyam, then no pressure, nothing you feel there. So no karma bondage. Okay. Atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. So sadhana is first karma yoga, second is tattva vichara, third is alertness. This shloka says three things. One is karma yoga, dedication, loving dedication, devotional dedication. Then second is jnana tattva vichara. Third is apramada, being always alertful. Don't allow any impulse or instinctive take over you. Everything do consciously. So such person who doesn't feel the pressure, who has cleared all doubts and understands that you are not an individual but the pure consciousness alone, and also he is very alert. Such a person gains the jnanam, and as a result of atma jnana he has no bondage at all. Okay, all karma bandhas go away. Nibadh atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. We have concluded the 41st shloka here, and the last shloka of the 4th chapter, 42nd, remains. That we shall see in the next class. I think one class is enough for 4th. Tasmad jnana sambhutam hridstam jnanasinatmana chitvainam samshayam yogamatishtottishta bharata. This one shloka remains. We shall cover it in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम तत्सत्.